Hey everyone, I've got some news to share with you today, and honestly, it's something I've been working on for a while now. If you've been here since the beginning, you know this channel has been through some changes, right? We started covering cybersecurity news, break down threats, and trying to make the complex world of digital security accessible to everyone. And whether you're an analyst deep in the trenches or just someone who's curious about how this stuff works, well, the channel is coming back, but it's coming back under a new banner, Forgebound Research. You may be asking why the rebrand. Well, let me explain. The name Forgebound comes from the idea of being bound to the forge, committed to the craft. In blacksmithing, you don't just heat metal once and call it done. You hammer it, refine it, temper it. You repeat the process until you've created something strong and functional. That's how I think about cybersecurity education and research. It's not a one and done thing. You have to keep learning, keep refining your knowledge, keep tempering your skills. And research is in the name because I want to do more of that. Not just reporting the news, although I'm still going to be doing some of that, but diving deeper into the how and the why behind these threats. Now, the show you know and love, Exploit Brokers, isn't going away. Well, not completely. It's now officially Exploit Brokers by Forgebound Research. Same mission, same host. This is still your host, Cipherceval, but with a refreshed style and some exciting new content coming down the pipeline for the overall channel. So, what is staying the same? Well, let me be clear about what's not changing. The core of Exploit Brokers, the podcast, remains the same. We're still going to be trying to break down the latest cybersecurity news, and we're still going to be explaining the technical details in a way that makes sense. Whether you're a seasoned professional or someone who's just trying to understand why you should care about that software update notification, the philosophy stays the same. Context first. We're not just going to throw headlines at you, we're going to explain the why behind the threats, the motives, the techniques, and we're going to keep using those real world analogies that help the concept stick. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna be reminding you to update your stuff. That's never going away. Patch does you no good if it isn't installed. So here's where things are gonna be a little bit more different. I'm not trying to compete with like CNN or Bleeping Computer, right? CNN has a full dedicated newsroom, and I'm a one person who's just kind of doing this as a side thing from being a software engineer. I don't want to be racing to be the first on a story. That isn't a game I can win. And frankly, it's not a game I want to play. So, Exploit Brokers is shifting more to what I'm calling a hybrid model. There's going to be two type of episodes generally going forward. So the first one is news commentary, and sometimes a story drops and I just want to give you a summary and my take on it. Or maybe summarize a couple of different stories. It's going to depend what happened, why it matters, and what you should do about it. These would be straightforward episodes. Me breaking down the news, adding technical insight where it makes sense. Not every episode needs to be a deep dive. Sometimes you just want to know what's going on without sitting through like a 30-minute, 45-minute documentary. Another type is going to be lab driven deep dives. When a major incident happens, let's say a supply chain attack hits a popular NPM package or something, instead of racing to report it, I'll wait a few days, pull the malicious code into a sandbox, and actually show you how it works. The news becomes the hook, but the lab is where the value is. You're not getting a news ticker, you're getting hands on analysis and more insight. The positioning is pretty simple. Exploit Brokers doesn't chase headlines. I am not a newsroom, and I'm not going to compete with newsrooms or with brands that have been around trying to do news very well. I like Bleeping Computer, for example. So we will either give you a solid summary with some insight, or we will go into the lab and show you how things actually work. Either way, you're getting more than a headline. Now, here's where the other piece of this, and I want to be pretty clear about it. I'm a software engineer by trade. It's what I do. I've been writing code and shipping products for years. And when it comes to hands on security research, think reverse engineering malware, hardware hacking, bug bounties, or anything like that, I'm still building those skills. And I've decided to do that learning in public with all of you watching. This isn't false modesty. I think there's real value in documenting the journey from a developer who's interested in security to someone who actually finds things in stuff that gets shipped. Not the polished retrospective after you've made it, but the real time process of getting there. You're going to see me work through concepts. You're going to see me make mistakes, and you're going to see the parts where I get stuck and have to figure it out. And along the way, we're both going to learn something. Now, beyond the podcast, I'm launching the Forgebound Lab, which would be a lot of new content on the same channel for the time being on YouTube. And it's going to be more than just security content. See, I'm not just interested in cybersecurity, although that is a major like facet of who I am. I'm a maker, I'm a tinkerer. I've got a 3D printer, a soldering iron, and a dangerous habit of buying e-waste from thrift stores just to kind of see what's inside. And I think all of that belongs in this space. Here's what you can expect. So, from a security research and analysis angle, I want to do hardware teardowns, examining devices from a security perspective, malware analysis walkthroughs, developer to hacker content that bridges software engineering and security research, This is where my bread and butter, my day job skills, what I've been doing for like several years, software engineering, can meet my security interests. I'm interested in doing kind of like some creative engineering. So sometimes I just want to build something and it would be cool. Over engineered solutions to simple problems, prop replicas that actually work, mechanisms and gadgets. I wonder if I could make this thing or this project. Not everything needs a practical purpose. And sometimes the engineering is the point. The build is just cool. I also want to do labs and teardowns. So, taking apart consumer electronics, salvaging components, understanding how things are built. Not always security focused. Sometimes it's just what's inside this weird gadget from like 2003 or 2005 or whatever. Learning electronics by actually touching electronics. Now, I don't know that I've ever mentioned too much, but I've got kids, and a lot of what I do or a lot of what I build in general is sometimes for them. And I want to show you some of the projects that I've done to teach them concepts or custom learning tools, education gadgets. I want to make abstract ideas tangible. Like, how do you explain binary to a 7-year old? There's some cool stuff to explore there. Building something they can touch or just building something they think is cool. This is content about the teaching, the methodology, and the projects themselves. I don't want to put my kids on camera. Now, I wanna give updates where I can, what's working, what's not, honest progress reports. If I'm gonna be learning in public, that means being honest about the whole thing, including the parts that aren't going well. I don't wanna only show the nice polished stuff. And here's the thing that ties it all together. I'm not gonna pretend everything works the first time. If you're a software engineer, you know nothing ever compiles the first time, and if it does, you should be suspicious. If you're a true hacker or cyber guy, you know if something worked the first time, you missed something, or just things like that. So when something breaks, when an approach fails, when I hit a dead end, that becomes content because that's where the real learning happens. The chaos is part of the process. So here's where I need your help. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed and that you've hit the bell notification icon. The algorithm can be unpredictable when channels rebrand, and I don't want you to miss anything. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast, make sure you're following the show. And if you've ever got a moment, leave a rating or review. It genuinely helps new people discover the content. And most importantly, tell me what you want to see. Drop a comment on YouTube or maybe on the Twitter. Twitter, X, you know what I mean. Drop a comment, reach out on social media. Let me know what topics you're interested in, what questions you have, what would be the most valuable to you. This content is for you. And I want to make sure we're building something that actually helps. Remember, nothing is hack proof, but together we can make ourselves as hard as a target as possible. And a lot of it really is, I just like sharing and building. And I would love to be able to reach that out to you guys. Now, I'm genuinely excited about this next chapter. The landscape of cybersecurity is evolving faster than ever. AI is changing everything. Threat actors are getting more sophisticated, and the need for solid, accessible security education has never been greater. But beyond that, I'm excited to finally have a place where all of my interests can live together. Security, making, electronics, engineering, projects, it all feeds into the same curiosity. And the Forgebound Lab is where that curiosity gets to run free. So, welcome to Forgebound Research. Welcome back to X Blood Brokers. Let's learn together, let's stay vigilant, and let's get a bit more knowledge than yesterday. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate each and every one of you who's been here, who's coming back, or who's joining for the first time. I do my best to reply to all the comments on YouTube. I do my best to read any reviews and check in on the podcasts. This is something I do pretty much on the side of my day job and something I do for fun and something I do that I really think matters. This has been your host, Cipherceval, and I'll catch you in the next one.